You happen to be looking at my swords. Yes, I have myself a cavalry sword and the giant sword from Braveheart. You can't really see most of it because it's hidden by a box and I don't want to take it out because YOLO. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? I have this ugly little thing in my hair. Give me 1 second while I look at my self-image and bask in it as I'm sitting there attempting to consider myself valuable to the internet because you can't see half my face. The logic. Anyways, hello. So, the challenges today are the following, and they're going to consist of the whole video. 1. Lose my mind for 5 minutes. I'm probably going to go for more like 8, but regardless, it's just alright. And then the second challenge is to wear the strangest shirt that I have. Very well. It's my band shirt. What do you think? It's very nice. And then it's, we're a Christian band, so, we got this, sort of God thing on the back. I didn't know if you noticed. So, yes, and my coffee is in the microwave. Therefore, the question is, should I get the coffee and then talk to you about what I'm going to talk about next? Or is it that I should simply not get my coffee? And then, this would go into some sort of really philosophical topic of who knowsness. But whatever. Anyways, you like this wheel bike? It's a really nice wheel bike. It's like the version of the wheel bike, how I had like at the very beginning of my stop motion adventures where I had a wheel bike, that had like a side cockpit. I want to try and make one that actually fits inside of this. So, if you want to try and build some sort of cockpit that would fit inside of this, if you have these kind of wheels and you know how this works, and if you don't know how it works, it's pretty easy. You pretty much just, rather than connecting them via each segment to another segment, you just connect it to a segment and then under, segment, over, segment, under. It's just really easy. But if you want to try and build that and then try and build a cockpit for it, do it, because A, that would look absolutely epic, and B, I would give you a lot of credit, and C, I have been trying to do it for a while now, and I've been trying to make it so that, someone like Moktau, or it's Nuru's bike, obviously, so I've been sitting there trying to make it so that Nuru can fit in the bike, and he can fit, but a cockpit barely can. So, yeah, it makes it so that it just kind of like makes him go in a big mouse wheel of circles, and it's just useless. But, anyways, I think I'm going to get my coffee. It just seems like a legitimate idea. So, as I sit here, I'm going to slowly walk in slow Okay, yeah, done. Goodness indeed. Alright. So, as I was saying, how did it go? Most delicious, Reginald. Most delicious indeed. Yes, quite right. Quite right. Alright then. So, where am I going to talk? I'm going to talk in my room because, it's really the only place that I know where to talk. Because I can just sit there and put you right here on this hither paintings that I created. Yes, I do enjoy these paintings quite very much. I like them. So, we're going to talk today about projects that I have attempted that will never come to fruition unless circumstances become very, very different. First of all, before we talk about that, we must talk about updates regarding stuff. Live stream today on this channel, 4:30 Mountain Standard Time in America. And for some of those people who question how it is to watch a live stream, all you have to do is click my subscriptions on YouTube, and the live stream will show up in your subscriptions. It probably won't have a thumbnail because YouTube takes a while to generate the thumbnails, and usually don't have enough time to generate a thumbnail for a live stream. So all you have to do is click on the link. If it doesn't work, that's because something's wrong with your internet and it's not in streaming abilities at the moment, which means you just won't be able to watch it live. You'll be able to watch it later, but I do very much recommend watching it later. Very, very much. And if not, then, well, it's okay. I'll put a, infomercial regarding the live stream also on my main channel, just to make sure that everyone's clear, and, Regarding what we're actually doing during the live stream, we are taking my whole entire Bionicle everything and putting it next to my computer desk, so that I actually have enough room to take my that giant white box that I actually do my stop motions in, actually having enough room to take that, put that somewhere, and then put a camera in front of it, because every single table that I have actually doesn't have enough room to fit it. So you know how that is. So I'm actually going to be doing that today, and I'll be answering some questions and whatnot, and come with some very good questions. I mean, like, some really good questions, because I want to answer some really good questions. Like, regarding, like, the game and how the game works, because I'll also be explaining how the rough draft of how the game works, because Sai and Josiah, who are going to be doing the live stream with me, need to actually know how the game works, because we're also going to be building props for the game. The second tier of the game, not the first or third. Right? Yeah, not the first or third. Yeah, because the first tier doesn't require props. The second tier is the one that requires props, and the third tier requires a map of whatever Nui you're residenting in. I mean, like, you might as well make it a fourth tier where you could, like, you know, control the universe, but whatever. Doesn't matter. So, projects that will never come to fruition. Bionicle website. Turns out that is too much for me to handle, and the hard part about a website is not creating it, it's constantly updating it, and that is a freaking nightmare. I would be perfectly okay with, you know, like, coming together and creating a like, website like Custom Bionicle Wiki, but seeing as Custom Bionicle Wiki is already out there, there's really no need for me to make said page. It would be more like just a BioTube page, where it'd just be like everybody comes together, gets their stop motions, and puts them on the website, rather than rather than the BioTube. I mean, you'd have it on YouTube, but then you'd also put it to the BioTube website, or the I don't even know what you'd call it, just the Bionicle fan, but I don't even know. But yeah, so the iBIONICLE website will not come to fruition, unfortunately, which means that, you know, leaks regarding some characters are actually out there if you knew how to find them. Some people do know how to find them, some of them do not. So, yeah, if you know how to find some of the characters that I have, kudos to you. And some people already have found them, but most of them haven't really been able to give them fruition, because I somehow depixelated most of the pictures to make sure that if you saw it, you'd be like, oh my gosh, what is that? I don't even know. I have shown them in live stream before, so if you ever want to actually see my content in places that you'll never see it before, just look at my live streams. I've shown myself mock in live streams before, and only like some 13 people have seen it. So, yeah. What else is there? There is, oh yeah, so Bionicle Derelicts. That will not come to fruition unless Bionicle comes back, because if Bionicle comes back, then it means that I might in fact gain the, what do you call it, the publicity? Yes, the publicity, in order to actually fund Bionicle Derelicts, because I literally spent, what, $600 on Bionicle Derelict stuff? That's a lot of money for, you know, how long ago was that? When I was like 14? I was like 14 when I started building Bionicle Derelicts. When, like, those trees that I built for the Bionicle Derelicts, unfortunately I had to throw away because they were taking up space and they were really useless. They will cost a lot of money to make, as well as making the props, as well as making all of the, and the storyline and getting everything ready. It took a lot of effort. Yeah, so, yeah, in hopes that that would come back, but I would do it as a CG, series rather than a stop-motion series, where I'd combine my channel to do both CG and stop-motion, but the stop-motion series would be like the fun, comedic, sitcomical shorts, while the Bionicle Derelicts, the main thing, would be a computer graphic animation. And then the Bring Back Bionicle campaign, this is going to start to clock a little bit longer than I was supposed to, but it's just okay. So, the Bring Back Bionicle campaign. Here is what was supposed to happen. We give Bionicle a notion, and it turns out that actually Bionicle responded to literally every single email that you sent individually in a separate manner. That means something, for starters. As in, Bionicle didn't just respond to all the emails all at the same time saying the same thing. They actually said different things every single time. So I have no idea how many people actually sent an email, but whether it was 10 or 20 or 50 or 150, if it was 150, that would explain the leak that people have been saying of Bionicle coming back in 2015. Otherwise, but yeah, so the whole entire point was A, make a statement. Once you make the statement, I mean, like, it wasn't, I didn't just, like, make all this come out of the blue. As in, like, let's just learn how to protest by accident. As in, make the statement. The statement is that we want Bionicle to come back. And then B, we actually get it so that Bionicle either comes back or gives us the rights to the thing. I did not leak the rest of the story. I was actually watching Death of the Editor's commentary on the Bring Back Bionicle campaign. I stopped my information at what I was going to say. As in, like, when I said I was going to give the Biotube the rights, I would say we as a community would own the Biotube, but it would be under my name. And I know how so many people are thinking right now, that's so selfish! But it would be the concept of, now I own the rights to the Bionicle franchise. Once this is done, we actually are capable of giving it to either a segment of the company that is willing to do Bionicle, or we're willing to give it to another company to do Bionicle. As in, Bionicle would thrive somehow, except for we would make it so that I would represent the Biotube and make sure that, A, the people that you said, no, don't bring back Bionicle, that'll be a terrible idea, I completely ignore them, because, you know, it's already halfway through fruition, and the people that would, like, comment saying, this is what Bionicle should be the second time around, I would say, okay, we will give whatever group the rights to Bionicle if these rights presented, or if these elements presented by the Biotube would in fact be acknowledged whilst the toy was being recreated. So, yeah. As in, like, if somebody like Mega Block decided to take the rights to Bionicle, then we would give it to Mega Block. Stuff like that. As in, like, it's actually legitimately possible for that to happen. It's not like we would just, like, sit there and keep the rights, because we all know how, you know, Edict Darts versus Shadow Gear, and then me not being able to deal with trolls and haters. You know how it is. You know how it is. And not all just trolls and haters. Some people with, you know, legitimate criticism that just don't know how to explain it very well. So, you know how it is. Yeah. So, there's that. Self-Mock miniseries. That, actually, is not going to just sit there and dwindle in the air. In fact, me, Josiah, and Sai are going to be discussing that today. As in, episode, 4? Right? Right? 4? Is it episode 4 or is it episode 3? I don't remember. Whatever episode is coming out next, we are going to start working on today. After as in, like, the 3 things on the live stream are going to happen as follows. 1, we are going to work on, what do you call it? We're going to work on bringing the set from upstairs to downstairs. 2, we're going to start working on props for the second tier of the Bionicle game. 3, we are going to start working on sets for the Self-Mock miniseries episode. And probably start shooting next week, I'm guessing. I don't actually know. I would assume next week. Let's see. Well, I mean, like, it's been, like, a couple of weeks because school just started for everybody, and so everybody's like, oh my gosh, as in, like, my band has been having to skip a couple of weeks because, A, there's been flooding, and so all the roads have been blocked, and then B, everyone's in school, so it's like everybody's trying to get stuff done and whatnot, and C, I'm unemployed currently, so all I got to do is Biotube. And, yeah, so, also, yeah, cards. Did I already talk about cards? I don't know if I did. If I didn't, then I will... if I did, then I'm just going to repeat myself. As for pictures, I need a Dermis turtle shell, not the one that's on the Bionicle wiki, because that just looks weird. It looks like just a couple of swords put together. I need a legitimate thing that looks like a shell. So, like, Lego Ken doll, thank you so much for creating that picture for me. However, I don't want I don't want that shell. I want a Dermis turtle shell. Like a legitimate, like, for instance, in Bionicle, not Matoran Adventures, the first Bionicle Game Boy game, they're like little tiny Dermis turtles that are just kind of like just green turtles. They're created out of something, but you can't really tell because it's like low pixel. So if you can build something that legitimately looks like a turtle shell, I would appreciate it. And then I also need a Vololutu launcher, which might in fact just be like a colored version of like the Exotoa shooter thingy. So I don't actually know, but I mean, if somebody could like color that or something, because I'm sitting there trying to get all the other pictures, and if somebody wants to just help me with cropping these, that would be greatly appreciated. Post in the comments if you're able to. So, is there any other spoilers that I could talk about? My self-mock, it does in fact exist, and you will in fact see it by sometime soon. Hopefully, considering. Yeah, so, what else is there? There is something else. Oh, I've learned a new stop-motion technique. This is turning into a really long vlog, but I've actually been able to keep talking this whole entire time. It's a first. So, I almost choked on that. That was about to be eventful. I learned a new stop-motion technique where it's going to take a long time. So the way that stop-motion programs work, which I do not have, is that they'll actually legitimately create a blur in between two frames. Whereas the program that I use, as well as most programs, will just create like a fade, where it's like you'll see a shadow of the last picture and the new picture just so that it kind of looks like things are moving. However, when I created the, standoff short, the animation where Nuru took out his gun was actually blurred, as in the shot was blurred, which made it so that it in fact looked all the more real, which makes it so that I've actually discovered the best way in order to make blurs most effective is by actually taking whatever object in the shot that's being moved at a specific direction and then adding a blur to it, as in like a motion blur rather than like just a stop motion blur where it's faded, as in literally take a blur and put it on the edge of that shot and have it so that when it's moving it'll be like an actual legitimate blur, as in like you see right here there's a blur, as in, but if I just went like that's what the stop motion blur looks like. This is what actual blur looks like. So, as in like actual blur is actually blurred, where stop motion blur there are two legitimate complete pictures. As in, so I don't know how else to really explain it, because it'll actually take a lot more work than it used to, where rather than just putting a stop motion blur to the whole entire shot, I will actually have to like take one tiny little shot, as in, so there will be the full picture, and then there will be a cropped out shot of whatever is actually moving, and whatever is actually moving is going to have a blur on it while it's moving, which will make it look a lot more realistic, and it'll also look a lot more cartoony, but cartoony in a way that has never been done before. And Callan Lord of Fire, you in fact are the one that has inspired this, whether you understand it or not. Because I look at your shots when you're making videos, and you put like a tiny little motion blur when somebody's just like shoot out of the picture. So that's how I got that idea, because I can actually make it so that I can put one shot or one body part, because I have the technology where I can take one body part and actually give it the blur in order to make it so that things are happening. So, yeah. Is there anything else to talk about? I don't think. Bionicle Derelicts. I'm not gonna spoil the actual story. I have spoiled the story in newscasts, in live streams before. No, okay, that's for later. So, what am I talking about? Is that all there is to talk about? I think that is all there is to talk about. Yeah, I'm gonna guess. Hi, yellow teeth. Gross. Okay, so, Thank you very much for watching this video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed it and enjoyed getting into all of the nitty-gritties of things that I will go on. I'm certainly hoping that, that last segment made sense to some people. Thank you very much for watching again. As of now, I bow to you and end the transmission now. The ground